Ambedkar University, Professor S.P. Singh, respected Principal, St. John's College, Agra, Dr. OP Mishra, Senior Scientist, Ministry of Earth Sciences, Government of India, New Delhi, speaker for today's international webinar, Dr. P.A. Majid, HOD of Department of Geography, St. John's College, the co-conveners, Dr. J. Andrew, Dr. Preeti Masih, Dr. Vidhu Grace Noel, Mr. Bob Stanley Gardner, Dr. Rohan J. D'Souza, Dr. Mahima Habil, Masi, Ms. Shalomeen Sharma, Mrs. Barkha Ben Singhal, our technical team, Mr. Sandeep Nair, Mr. Rohit Johnson, and all our dear participants. As we continue to focus to hope and pray for the pandemic COVID-19 to disappear from the face of the earth, we need to pray to the Almighty to keep us safe from other disasters as well, especially earthquakes. Since April 12th, Delhi NCR has experienced about 20 earthquakes of a medium to low magnitude on the Richter scale. Mizoram, Gujarat, Andaman and Nicobar Islands are experiencing frequent earthquakes. Just yesterday, an earthquake of 4.6 magnitude occurred 159 kilometers off the coast of Mayabandar in Andaman and Nicobar Islands. All the holy books have a reference of earthquake disasters. Thus, we need to look up to the Almighty to grant us the wisdom, understanding, and knowledge to be prepared to save ourselves and our loved ones from all calamities. I'll request Dr. J. Andrew, Associate Professor in the Department of Zoology and Chaplain of the College, to say a word of prayer before we begin the webinar. Dr. J. Andrew.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, Maker of heaven and earth, we praise you, honor you, and adore you. We thank you for the new day and for helping us to gather virtually as a fraternity. We thank you for the nature around us and for all forms of life it nurtures. We confess before you that we have not treated nature and one another fairly and kindly. Forgive us. As we reel under COVID-19 pandemic, Lord, we pray that you help humanity all over the world, and especially the people of our country, to overcome this pandemic and emerge stronger, kinder, and wiser. Bless today's webinar as we deliberate on earthquake risks, prevention and risk mitigation. Lead us and guide us. Bless the speaker of the day, leaders of the program, and all participants as they share their experiences and technological solutions for a sustainable future. We pray that your enlightening presence guides each one of us. Lord, we pray for your blessings upon the Vice Chancellor, sir, and our Principal, sir. Let St. John's College be a beacon of light to the city and the society at large. Thank you for answering our prayers. In the name of Jesus, we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Dr. Andrew. The generating process of earthquakes are an enigmatic issue, and it is not predictable with present state of knowledge because of our inadequate understanding of the physics involved into the genesis of earthquakes. The impact of earthquake shaking is unexpectedly enormous on floras, faunas, and infrastructures, which can occur anywhere at any point of time without respecting the political boundaries of countries, interstate or intrastates. Earthquake risks can be mitigated to a greater extent for minimal losses of lives and infrastructures by adopting plausible techno-scientific measures, which in turn help reduce public panic due to earthquake
Hello.
Oh,
I think college connection is lost.
yeah, I think I'm not able to talk.
Sir,
Hello.
you are audible, sir. Just give us a
Audible.
moment.
I'm audible. I'm audible.
Sir, you are quite audible.
You
There's
are.
some technical glitch. Give us a moment, please.
It's at the college end, I think.
Are you able to see me?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes, sir. We are able to see you.
Okay, thank you. So I'm waiting for you. Don't worry.
Yes, sure.
Okay.
ठीक है, अच्छा है। लग रहा है। Careful.
all these issues will be spoken about in greater detail by Dr. OP Mishra. But before that, we'd like our principal to address the gathering. I think there is a technical glitch. Dr. Vidhu, Dr. Rohan, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Dr. Rohan, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you please introduce the guest?
Sure, ma'am. Honorable VC, sir, Principal, sir, the convener, ma'am, all the dear co-conveners and the participants, a very warm good morning to you. And it is my honor and privilege indeed to welcome and introduce our speaker, our resource person for the day, Dr. OP Mishra. He is indeed a very learned, eminent scientist. Dr. OP Mishra is a fellow of the National Academy of Sciences, India. He has done pioneering work involving applied geophysics, seismology, disaster risk management with over 30 years of experience in different fields of earth sciences and seismology. Presently, he is working with the Ministry of Earth Sciences as a senior scientist. So obtained his MSc Tech degree from IIT ISM Dhanbad in applied geophysics and holds a PhD and DSc from Geodynamics Research Center, Japan in seismology. He has a PGDMA from IMA New Delhi in finance management. Dr. Mishra has worked with IDRC Canada in a joint venture project with CMPDIL Coal India during 1992 to 95. He has served the Geological Survey of India for about 20 years, from 95 to 2014. He has worked with the SARC Disaster Management Center at New Delhi as its head and director, He has also worked at the GRC Matsuyama, Japan as a foreign visiting guest professor. Sir has had the honor of representing SAARC member nations to different UNO agencies such as UNDP, UNSCAP, UNISDR, UN Habitat, etc. Dr. Mishra has also contributed to IRP, ADPC, ADRC, USAID, ECO as an invited panelist, and he has contributed significantly in the field of disaster risk management. He is a widely traveled scientist, academician, and professional to different countries of the world, having credentials to execute challenging projects funded by the UNISDR and the World Bank for disaster risk resiliency for South Asia. He is a life member of several professional bodies of international repute, including American Geophysical Union, Seismological Society of America, Seismological Society of Japan, MGMI India, India Meteorological Society, Indian Institute of Public Administration, among others. He is the recipient of several awards and honors, including the National Mineral Award 2008 for Disaster Risk Management in Applied Geosciences, awarded by the Government of India, the Ani Talwani Gold Medal by Indian Geophysical Union, the A.S. Arya Award by IIT Roorkee. Sir has supervised and guided a total of about 30 students and researchers in their higher studies during master and doctoral courses, including 10 scholars for PhD degree from various universities of India, of which 3 have been awarded their doctorate. He has more than 100 research publications to his credit, including edited books, reports, roadmaps, special issues on various themes of DRR in peer-reviewed journals of national and international renown. Sir, we are indeed honored to have you today to speak in this webinar organized by St. John's College, Agra. And I'm sure today's the talk is going to be very enlightening and a very fruitful experience for our participants. I welcome you once again, sir. Thank you so much.
Okay. Can you again enable your sharing because it is coming as a disabled?
Just a moment, sir.
Enabled. Sir, it has been enabled.
Enabled?
Yes, sir.
Try now, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. It's visible, sir. If you can put it on full screen, please.
Are you getting me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Very
Perfect.
So my time on for speaking, or you will tell something else?
No, it is your time for speaking, sir. The stage is
Okay. Yeah, I'm really feeling great to be a part of your international webinar interactive session. I'm really grateful to your Vice Chancellor, Dr. Singh, the principal of your college, Madam, the all organizers, and I'm really grateful to Madam Chauhan, who able to trace me through my one of the friend, Lubna from Jamia, and really the chairperson, Mr. P. M. Majid of the Geography Department. So all colleagues, all reputed personality, researchers, students, everyone. You know, I chose the topic earthquake risks, prevention and risk mitigation, which is a very, very vital topic and worrisome topic for the entire world. And it is only the research topic that is still not able to achieve that why earthquake happening and when earthquake will occur, whether the earthquake will be stopped or not, whether earthquake prediction will be achieved or not. That is all the things are there. So before going to speaking, I just mention you that I try to give you some glimpse of the fundamentals and then is equal to then enter slowly. So if you see this topic, earthquake risk, I'm audible properly, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So if you see the topic, earthquake risk prevention and risk mitigation. So if you go through that, there is a keyword earthquake. So it is just the same word, together word earthquake, but consists of earth and quake. So earth is terra, quake is shaking. So it is the shaking. So any shaking of the earth is called earthquake, but can be a shaking due to a natural and could be a man-made. Just like you know that there is the explosive, massive explosive nuclear tests, so many things the man-made they are creating is equal to mine blast, quarry blast, or if you go to coal mines, you can see the blasting of the quarries and you can able to get the shaking in nearby. So the shaking of the earth can be made through the man-made as well as through natural. But the man-made shakings are very mild and it is not any sort of the disastrous provided the structures in the vicinity of the mines blast is not strong enough to withstand the shaking. So here we will speak the natural is equal to earthquake. That means the earthquake means shaking of the earth related to the natural processes, what is going on in the earth. And Mother Earth, I will explain you that how is equal to natural processes is able to trigger the earthquake. A risk is that nothing but it is a susceptibility and the propensity to loss. So if it is the risky, you can say that don't go, it is a risky. That means you are or your action should be susceptible and you are very much vulnerable is equal to bear the risk. And prevention is the action of stopping something from happening and arising. So mitigation, the action of reducing the severity. So these are the general meanings. But how to translate in the earthquake risk means you have to overcome the earthquake risk, means you have to understand the susceptibility and propensity due to earthquake. You have to take the preventive measures to stop is equal to the untoward happening to the structures and the lives of the people. And you have to save the lives of the people, and you have to save is equal to save the structure, and you have to save is equal to save the losses of the infrastructure due to earthquakes. And if you go for the prevention, then what could be the action? And action could be translated into a mitigation. That means your action should be reducing the severity, means as minimum as losses should be achieved by adopting the preventive measures. So if you go for that, if you see this, just like I go with the anatomy of the Mother Earth, it is very similar to the human anatomy. Just like in human anatomy, the upper layer of the human is called a skin, and here upper layer of the earth is called the crust. Similarly, the middle layer of the human being is called the flesh, and is equal to middle layer of the earth is called the mantle, and is equal to bottommost layer of the human being is bone. Similarly, the bottommost layer of the earth is core. So crust, mantle, and core, these are the three major strata of the earth, but there are the other sub-physical to type of the strata depending on the physical property contrast. So maybe the upper crust, lower crust, upper mantle, lower mantle, outer core, inner core, depending on the physical property contrast. And this is equal to actually the dynamism of the earth is related to the viscous is equal to mantle, and is equal to liquid outer core, and solid is equal to inner core. And it acts is equal to acts as the flow of the blood in the equal to in a human being. And that's why the Mother Earth is electrified, Mother Earth is magnetic, Mother is equal to Earth has is equal to life. It is only lively planet among all the planets of the universe. So the earth processes is taking place. So the thing is here that how to define a simple word, the earthquake, because I want to make interesting. In my many lectures, I used to put this slide by my own self when I published this also, that earthquake is a heart attack of the earth. Why? Because synonym in the process. The heart attack precursor is what? It could be only liable to a person is equal to who has a heart disease. So a person having a heart disease is liable to the zone of the or area of the highly seismic activity. So only earthquake happened if the area is designated or demarcated as the highly seismic activity. So similarly, the heart is equal to attack is not to everybody. Everybody is prone to heart attack at every time. At some point of time, everybody is healthy. But sometimes you find that a person is equal to obscene childhood, he has a heart disease and very vulnerable to collapse, right? Or some stages, the person is equal to develop the abnormal systolic and diastolic pressures. So is equal to he is vulnerable to high tension, high pressure, and then is equal to there is chances of the massive attack, mild attack, minor attack, as doctor used to say. So similarly, is equal to the earth is equal to has different stages of the stress accumulation. It could be equal to be stress accumulation is similar to pressure. So stress accumulation, if it is the more, then is equal to if it stress release of the more stress, then it was the massive is equal to massive earthquake or major earthquake or great earthquake or disastrous earthquake. If it was the mild type of the lower number of this, it could be a micro earthquake or mild earthquake or even the creepy earthquake. So it's equal to very related to the human processes. But sometimes it happens that when is equal to when, there is no equal to any type of the symptom. There is no equal to type of the any high systolic and diastolic abnormal pressure. But suddenly it happens that there is chest pain and the person collapses, and you will be surprised. Mother Earth is equal to do same times. Some is equal to zone is found to be very stable, like Deccan ka Pathar. You know that the Deccan is equal to areas. The area of the Bangalore and all, you can see the highly at the least seismic zone. Even is equal to now earthquake is happening. So this was a surprise to us that there is no any symptom, means there is no collisional tectonics, there is no collision of the two plates, there is no subduction of any plate, there is no volcanic zone. How is equal to how this area, that plate interior earthquake is happening? It's just like similar to unknown facts that is equal to earth is generating. Means there is something which generates the stress, creating is equal to the differential strain, and once the shearing or bearing strength of the rock is exceeded by the accumulation of the strain energy, then is equal to rocks break. That is called a Hooke's law. Many physics students, school physics students can understand, or a school is equal to physics, it gives a Hooke's law that if you pressurize, give the stress, strain is increasing. But at a yield point, when the maximum stress is applied, then the rock or object breaks. And this is equal to rock and object breaks, creates is equal to a tremor, because breaking is equal to earth, breaking of the rock is equal to is just like a displacement of the two blocks, and is equal to this displacement of two blocks is called a fault. Right? So the stress is the triggering factor, and internal property of the earth, there is a conflict, there is a different composition, there is a different is equal to different physical property, a structural defect, like is equal to faulting, the folding, the joints, the crevices. There is a lot of the things are there in the Mother Earth. So these are the actually agencies creating that. So if you have a foresaw idea, then you can predict the earthquake. The question arises: can you predict the heart attack? I will go to the next slide. So as a result, the earthquake is taking place in the many ways, depending on the stress pattern. Similarly, if the earthquake going on, there are the different type of the earthquakes. Means the entire India is a laboratory of almost all type of the earthquake genesis. It could be the earthquake in the Himalayan region, that is because of the collisional tectonics. If you close your eyes and find that every time earthquake is taking place. There is an earthquake in Andaman Nicobar region, where the subduction of the oceanic sternic plate occurring beneath the continental plate. There is the earthquake in plate interior, a stable part of the India, such like in the Bhuj earthquake, or is equal to Latur earthquake or Jabalpur earthquake. So these are the plate interiors is also depicting is equal to the genesis of earthquake. There is also the reservoir induced earthquake. You know that the Koyna Varna region of the Maharashtra, or is equal to Aswan is equal to dam region of the Egypt, or Tehri dam of India in Uttarakhand, or you go for the Narmada, that was in the Gujarat. So there was a lot of the reservoir induced seismicity is also fine, means there is reservoir activity inducing, means loading and unloading of the water pressure is leading to genesis of the earthquake because of the changes in the or perturbation in the stress pattern. And then is equal to, sometimes I mentioned that earthquake occurred due to a rock bust mining. You have seen that there are many deep minings, there are equal to many coal minings, the process is taking place. Many is equal to a stone breaking is taking place in some Pandhana area in the Maharashtra, or is equal to any in the some top of the Arauli in the Rajasthan. And you can find out if the blasting taking place with some explosive, there is a shaking and they generate the earthquake, but it is a micro or minor earthquake. But this is the quake, is the induced earthquake is taking place. Okay. So if you see the South Asia, because we are interested to see that not only is equal to the earthquake zone is affecting the only one is equal to geographical boundary, as Madam is equal to read out, that there is no geographical respect. There is no geographical boundary respect by the earthquake. Earthquake never fear that if some country is very rich, I will not hit there. Earthquake never fear that if this country is very poor, so I am doing mercy that I will not struck over there. So it is the transboundary earthquake also creating the disaster is equal to in the two areas. Suppose the earthquake occurred in Pakistan, it can lead to the genesis of the disturbances in India also, or nearby Afghanistan also. If there is earthquake in the Bhutan, it also affects the India as well as in Nepal. If the earthquake occurred in Nepal, the India and the nearby the other area is taking place. And you know that if there is earthquake in the Afghanistan also, Delhi shakes, because there is a lot of the connectivity of the faults. There is a lot of the of the weak zones, or maybe is equal to the warehouse of the so many structural defects that has connectivity that can become as a conduit to propagate the seismic wave to the different places. So even the earthquake occurred in Afghanistan, we were able to get the feeling in the Agra, or may feeling in the Delhi, or maybe in the surrounding region, depending on how stronger the earthquake. So if this is the map of the South Asia, it is very scenic beauty. You can see there is a lot of mountain. India is there, surrounded by the oceans and all. But we try to see, as a geologist or geophysicist, inside is equal to the South Asia, you found that the internal structure of the South Asia is very worrisome. Means it was not easy. That means the entire South Asia is subjected to so many stress genesis factors. Means you see that there is a lot of the lines. These are the faults. So there is so many factory of the faults in the South Asia. There's so many laser folio of the lineaments. You can see that there is so many warehouse of the weak zones, and is equal to also you can see the spreading zones in the ocean. So these are actually the triggering factor, or the more causative factor that can lead to the genesis of the differential stress accumulation, and is equal to again the release of the strain energy. And if the release of the stress energy taking place, then is equal to then there is the shaking, there is the brittle failure happening, and there is the rock breaking take place, and then we can feel the earthquake. So prior to know the genesis of the earthquake, we have to study that what is equal to factor is there in our locality, where is equal to which fault is lying in our locality, which fault is seismogenic, which fault is dormant, which fault is not seismogenic, or which is equal to type of the structure you are equal to residing to the near the collision zone, means two plate colliding, or in the subduction zone, means one plate going down to the other, or is equal to in the plate interior, maybe some other is equal to a structural heterogeneity within the plate causing the earthquake. Suppose you are very well and hale and hearty, but there is some type of the problem in somebody's stomach, or somebody which is not visible by naked eyes, but there is something going on inside the body, and that is corroding you, and you are getting the pain. Similarly, in the earth also, it is not a mapped fault. It is not a mapped fault. It is not a seismogenic factors, but there is something inside. It's called a in situ heterogeneity that is generating the corrosive processes that weakening the rock and the breaking taking place. Right. So these are actually the mechanism of the genesis of the earthquake. So you see that whatever the images you have seen, this is very similar to the genesis is equal to of the earthquake. This is all red is equal to red. The marked is equal to the open triangle is the earthquake. So almost all part of the Himalaya, all is equal to Indian Ocean, all plate interior is associated with the earthquake. None is equal to none of the part of the any inch, not even an inch is not devoid of the earthquake. Completely associated with the earthquake. So you can see that the beauty of the mapping of the seismogenic fault and the other structural features, what I have shown you before, is very much matching to the genesis of the earthquake. And that is one of the information we able to find out that where the earthquake strike, right? So if you see the plate interior, you can see that why plate interior is happening. I told you that there is no collisional tectonics, there is no subduction tectonics, there is no volcanism, there is nothing, then why it happening? But if you go do the imaging as a geographer of the entire interplate of the region, you can see that there are many is equal to cratons, means the cratons of the very stable part, but this is equal to two cratons is separated by some is equal to of the fold belt. So we see this Aravali craton, Budelkhand craton, is the Son Narmada lineament or the rift zone, the Bastar is equal to Bhandara cratons, Singhbhum cratons, all this. So there are the different type of the craton form the different geological ages. So their competency, their compactness, their stiffness coefficients, their stability are different. So it is a conflict of the existence taking place. Suppose like if somebody is married to a person who is not belonging to his culture, but he loves or she loves, and marry is equal to a person who is supposed to be a very good, because he is also human being, we are also human being. Love has only one language, but your culture or your way of the living, your family rituals, his family rituals, he is equal to his processes of the following some rules and regulations in his country and your country is different. Then it creates a conflict, right? Conflict between you and him. And then it's equal to this conflict. If you not resolve at a time, then it takes equal to a bigger step. and there is equal to a lot of the things are happening. Maybe a lot of the fighting and a lot of the tremor. Similarly, in the earth, there is a lot of the conflict based on the compositional differences, based is equal to on the geological ages, based is equal to on the locations is equal to of the plates, based is equal to on the other extraneous factors. Because if two persons are fighting, if third person coming and igniting, it will become equal to more fighting. Or if some third person is coming and it's subsiding, the fight it will be quenched, right? Similar thing in the earth is taking place. Some intrusive bodies are there, some extrusive bodies are there. Some extrusive body acts is equal to as an igniter, that there is a stress accumulation going on, and some is equal to some intrusive bodies or some extrusive body try to quench is equal to quench or can cement the leakage of the stress, and there is no is equal to earthquake happening. Similarly, so there is a lot of the anatomy of the human being, of our society, of the mother earth following, and these are the common physics that I can explain the genesis of the earthquake. So if you go for the next, you can see plate interior, the Bhuj earthquake happened at the 25-kilometer depth because of all these cumbersome tectonics of the intraplate. If you go to the northeast area, you can see there is so many equal to fault zone. Indo-Burma, the Indo-Burma, the trench zones are here. So it was a lot of the Indian plate. When the Indian plate meets with the Myanmar plate, it's called the Indo-Burma arc. So Indo-Burma arc is there. There is the other is equal to so many known faults are there. But there are some other faults which is hidden faults which has not equal to be image. But if you see this is associated with the subduction of the subcontinental Indian and is equal to overwriting of the Eurasian plate or is equal to the Myanmar plate, and these collisions lead to the genesis of the Himalaya. That is equal to other topic. So now is equal to, I'll say that these collisional tectonics make the Northeast India is more vulnerable, and that's why we are getting the genesis of the earthquake in entire is equal to Northeast India. This is the map, or you can see the Y is equal to the slanting of the earthquake means the subduction of the Indian plate is following the subduction of the earthquake. You see this image and see the blue dots. This is the earthquake genesis at different depth. So this is called a Benioff zone. That means the earthquake genesis at different depth if you go for the recording. So this is equal to this. Northeast India is also seismogenic because you can explain its collision tectonics. If you go for the Myanmar, go for the Andaman Nicobar region where the North Sumatra and Andaman tsunami-genic earthquake happened in 2005, 26 December, 2004, 26 December. So you can see that there is a lot of the earthquake occurring in entire is equal to Andaman Nicobar Islands, and there is none of the place is devoid of the earthquake. So different colors show that at different depth of the earthquake occurring, and changing in the size is giving the magnitude changes. So different type of the magnitude changes in this is equal to North Andaman and is equal to North Sumatra and Andaman region. So I can say that the earthquake is equal to of the different is equal to different magnitude has is equal to different type of the frequency, and the people becomes worried that earthquake is occurring of the so many earthquakes, so there is a danger. Now people and the newspaper and many cheap popularity of the some experts started to tell that there is going to be a big earthquake. That prediction is taking place because some people don't know the scaling law. Somebody don't know what was the relation between frequency of the magnitude and magnitude of the earthquake. So frequency of the occurrence of the earthquake and magnitude of the earthquake. So you see that this is the all statistically proved and virtually it is high. It is proved. So great is equal to earthquake of magnitude more than 8 is occurring in 25 years. One earthquake in 25 years. Similarly, if you go for the lower magnitude 7 to 7.9, one magnitude occur in 16 years. The strong magnitude 6 to 6.9 magnitude, it occurs one magnitude in 4 years. And moderate earthquake 5 to 5.9, 35 per year. Okay. So if you go to light earthquake 4 to 4.9, then there is the 1550 about per year. And minor earthquake 3 to 3.9, it was about 5,500 per year. And very minor 2 to 2.9 is about 1 lakh per year. Even lesser, it is more than that. Okay. So the thing is that तो फूफा जी को बताओ कि मैं हेलो एक्सक्यूज मी वन प्लीज हेलो मैं एक मीटिंग में हूं मैं बात करता हूं यस Sorry, there was one urgent phone call. So are you listening me? Hello.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Sometimes respond because I thought sometimes silent I keep on speaking. So there was a phone call from office. That's why I stopped. Okay, anyway, so you can see that even the magnitude lesser than 2, it's equal to number of the earthquake will be more and more. You understand this type of the relationship. So you may worry that what are the causative factor that causes the severe damage to earthquake? Huh? So severe is equal to severe. What are the causative factors that causes severe damage to a structure? Okay, so this is the nothing but just like a huge energy. You know, huge energy. You can see that there is a lot of the bomb blast explosive on the road, and there is a lot of the damages taking place. So I started to compare the magnitude of the earthquake, its energy genesis due to a particular magnitude earthquake, and its correspondence to the explosive quantity. So in this y-axis at the right side, you can see the explosive quantity, and this is equal to energy. You can see like this, right? So earthquake, if you see that, if 10 kg oil exploration, we are using the exploration by the human actions. If you go for the oil basin exploration in the deeper earth, we have to take a 10 kg oil exploration. It generates the shaking of magnitude 2. If it is the 1 ton seismic sounding or 10 ton long distance seismic sounding, it's magnitude 3. So 2, 2.5, 3. And similarly, if you go for 10 to the 4 ton, means 10,000, then is equal to there is magnitude 5 equivalent to energy generated. And similarly, if you go for the magnitude 9.5, that means the Chile earthquake of 1960, that is the largest earthquake till today, the world recorded, it generates about 50 billion ton of the explosion. You can imagine that how much energy generated by the earthquake, and this is equal to huge energy, is causing the destruction of the earth, right? So you cannot stop the earthquake, you cannot predict the earthquake, you cannot forecast the earthquake. So you have to have reduced the impact of the so huge energy on the structure so that a structure can be safer, or we can save our life due to destruction of the structure where we live. So it is well said that it is not the earthquake that kills the people, it is the structure that kills the people. And that is the crux of our presentation, which will show in the last slide. Now you may ask that, so this is equal to huge energy. I give you some snaps in the huge earthquake, plate interior. You can see that well built is equal to a structure damage. Some is equal to a structures are a standstill. So keep in memory. I will ask this and tell you that. So if you go for the Muzaffarabad earthquake of magnitude 7.8, it was a transboundary earthquake in the Muzaffarabad in Pak-occupied Kashmir. You can see this building destroyed, but some is equal to adjacent building is a standstill. In the Indian part, some building is equal to is destroyed. So it says the story of what is equal to a structure, what type of the structure is, and how stronger the structure is. If you go for the Muzaffarabad earthquake, you can see that well-built structure. A school-going children is equal to trapped inside and he died. And this is equal to so many building died, but all multi-story building is standstill. Here you can see that the entire is equal to a structure turned into rubbles. So you can see that the impact of the earthquake differently. And please remember, some structure damage, some structure standstill, somebody killed, somebody saved. So the people is equal to are so furious that they are praying the God that save us. Of course, if there is so equal to much energy generated and it is beyond the human control, then only God can save us. That is there. If technological and engineering solution will not equal to available, then you can only equal to enchant the name of the God, which is not visible, but there is the power which can give you the wisdom to take the way and save us. That is equal to that. You cannot deny it. But this is give you the clue for a scientific expedition, scientific exploration, the invention and discovery, what I explained in the other slides. So what happens, if you see this Sikkim earthquake in 6.9 magnitude 2011, the Nepal is equal to side earthquake is differently damaged. The Indian is equal to side earthquake is differently damaged. This is Indian side, this is the Nepal side. So you can see the differently damaged. So there are so many earthquakes that is equal to shows the different degree of the damage. This is the Mexico. See, all the structure is standstill, but only cracks you can get it. So this is the damage is taking place. So certainly the people did not die. There is no full equal to collapse of the building. There is equal to no full destruction of the building, but there is the cracks. So this is equal to this. You remember that is equal to earthquake impact shaking is different on different structure, provided the magnitude is equal to magnitude of the earthquake will equal to, you will be same or will different. So you can see here the vital the dam for power generation in the Chichi earthquake, that is in Taiwan. You can see there is the displacement of the power dam, and it is created the disruption of the power supply. So it can hit the dwelling, it can hit the vital installations, it can hit the N is equal to defense installations, or is equal to any VIP building, or N is equal to a structure. If is equal to the shaking of the earthquake will be like that. Okay. So if you see that, there is the question arises that I have seen you the genesis of the earthquake, I've seen you the cause of the earthquake damages. Now you may ask that how is equal to how to reduce the earthquake seismic hazards. There are the 3 points. You can either predict or forecast the earthquake, or you can development of the earthquake early warning system. There is an alarm. Okay, sir, there is alarm, so you can take a precaution. And there is a development of the earthquake risk resilient structure if you cannot do that. So my dear friends, if all 3 points, if you understand it, then it's equal to different story. I go for the equal to prediction. Before prediction, I wanted to show you that prediction requires a complete information about the processes, means earthquake processes. Just like the physics involved in the complete equal to physics of the processes should be known. An estimate of the requisite parameters that can be plausible precursors. Suppose you have body pain, you can say that I have going to a fever. So body pain is your precursor for a fever. If you have the stomach, you can irregular stomach, the doctor can sense that there is something is equal to something big, something like tumor or something wrong happening in your stomach, that it is not subsiding, giving a normal medicines, that there is something going on. So precursors should be known that earthquake is going to making, and if precursor is known, then you can predict the earthquake. You know why? So I have shown you the earthquake definition, that it is the heart attack of the earth. Now may I ask you that can you predict the heart attack of the earth? Can you forecast the heart attack of the earth of the human being? If yes, then how? And if no, why not? I think 100 years ago, the doctors were not aware to how the equal to heart functions. So they were not able to understand that how is equal to how the heart attack happens and what is causing the heart attack, right? But now doctor understand the mechanism of the functioning is equal to mechanism and functioning of the heart. So they can understand that if systolic and diastolic pressure is abnormally high, suppose diastolic pressure is 230 and 250, the doctor say, oh, please take care, you're going to collapse. Because they know that the artery and vein is not sustainable to equal to bear the blood pressures. It is going to collapse, it's going to fracture, it's going to damage, right? So doctor understand what is the precursors. They don't know the precursor is the systolic and diastolic pressure provided. And if the doctor knows that how a person is equal to cell decay is taking place and how much cell decayed, how much cell is equal to what is the rate of the cell decay, then he calculates the person suffering with the cancer and tell that he is going to live for 3 months, 4 months, 5 months. Because why? Because you know the mechanism of the cell decay. They know the mechanism of the heart functioning. So once you know the mechanism of the earthquake processes, you can predict the earthquake. Until today, we don't know the exact mechanism involved in the earthquake processes. That's why we're not able to predict the earthquake. Because Mother Earth is very complicated. Its processes is too complicated. So if you know 100 precursors, there are 101 precursors that is diagnostic, which is not known to us. If it is the 101 precursor known to us, there is 110th precursor which is known to us, which is not known to us. And this is actually fallacy, or this is really hindrance that we are not able to predict the earthquake, right? So in order to predict the earthquake, we have to have two equal to happening. You can be asking that, sir, Japan to predict कर दिया है, सर चाइना भी प्रिडिक्ट करने का क्लेम करता है, अमेरिका भी प्रिडिक्ट करने का क्लेम करता है, लेकिन सब कुछ करता है जब अर्थक्वेक हो जाता है तब. अब ये देखिए, आपको प्रिडिक्शन जो है 1975 में हाइचेंग अर्थक्वेक, द चाइना इज इक्वल टू हैज प्रिडिक्टेड in the 1975 by Haicheng earthquake of magnitude 7.6, and it really worked. They predicted it worked for about 10 hours before they predicted, and you can imagine that entire destruction was stopped. The people evacuated, they take the care. So entire world was celebrating. Okay, the earthquake is now predicted, so we have overcome the natural processes. But what happens? Just after 1 year, the 1976 Tangshan earthquake in China just occurred 150 kilometers away from the Haicheng, and same group of the scientists studying, they did not able to predict the earthquake. So what happens? The entire houses due to 1976 Tangshan earthquake turned into rubbles. None of the structure was found erected or saved, almost critical to all structure is damaged. That means the earthquake prediction was of 1975 was a coincidence. It was not equal to based on the exact equal to analysis of the mechanism, and it was still not known how they predicted it. So it is not like that I am a good surgeon and I understand the heart processes. I can do the operation of the Indian patient or Indian heart, but we cannot equal to operate the American heart. Can you tell me that I am a doctor? If the anatomy of the human being is same, if the heart functioning is same, the heart can be operated either is equal to belongs to the Indian or is equal to or belongs to equal to the American or Japanese or any is equal to any country. So the mechanism is known, then earth can be predicted. Of course, there is a lot of the earthquake I told you, maybe collisional, maybe subduction. So every is equal to nucleation mechanism is different. But a particular is equal to collisional tectonic earthquake may be predicted. A particular subduction is equal to earthquake may be predicted. A particular earthquake associated with volcanism may be predicted. Or particular is equal to earthquake occurring in the intraplate, which is devoid of the collision, subduction, and volcanism can be predicted, but it is not happening. Why? Because you don't know the exact mechanism involved in the genesis of earthquake. And that's why the people ask that you are talking about physics, you are talking about Hooke's law, you are telling that if the scientific theory is valid and if predictability is there, then is equal to earthquake must be predicted, right? And if you cannot predict the earthquake, then you are not a good seismologist. This is a common is equal to complaint come to us. When I was speaking in UNESCO, the UN OCHA, that is meeting in the New York, speaking about the earthquake, they told that you are a seismologist, can you predict the earthquake? I told present state of knowledge, you cannot predict the earthquake. So he told then you are not a good seismologist. And here is the perception gap between the public and perception gap between the scientists. Scientists trying to understand the genesis of the earthquake, processes and mechanism. Once it is known, it can be predicted. Today it is not possible. Tomorrow maybe our children, your children, or somebody can able to predict that. Or maybe I am speaking today, few hours somebody predicted. So it's equal to research is going on. And once it's equal to achieve the goal, then prediction can be taking place. So maybe you are taking that prediction. What is prediction? Prediction actually involved with the many processes. It is anticipation, justification. I can predict you that there is the earthquake in the Himalaya. You can go and map, go and measure there is earthquake. I anticipate it. Why? Because you know that it is the seismogenic zone. We know that it is collisional zone. We know that there is a lot of seismogenic fault. We know that there is a lot of the earthquake generating factors. So you can anticipate. You give the justification because these are factors are there. Many earthquake happening, many earthquake does not happen so many long time. This fault was active earlier but not active. So you can give the justification maybe going to there. And you also accept, and you also what? And you also give the expectation. When the earthquake happens, you can tell that, oh, this fault was ruptured 50 years ago. Maybe the stress is accumulating because elastic rebound theory says that if one earthquake happens, release the energy, it is accumulated in the other places. And that is equal to accumulation, again generate the energy. So it is lost just like a law of mass of conservation of energy. So similarly, elastic rebound theory says that. So we expect that there is the earthquake of particular fault which has already been triggered. Or there is the earthquake in the some active fault, which is new active fault, stress is built up, but it was not earlier generated earthquake. So you expect it, but expectation is without reference to precise location, size, and time. So these three stages we have already achieved in the prediction. Means you demarcated the zone, which zone is going to be the seismogenic. That means anticipation we are doing. We are giving the expectation, what is causative factors, but we are also expected, but we cannot is equal to predict the authenticate our prediction. That means with reference to time, with reference to location, with reference to size. Once we know the time, location or size, then prediction is taking place. Ab kya karenge aap? If is equal to you have no prediction, if you is equal to then you leave the places because you are living in the Himalaya collisional tectonic zone. So leave the Himalaya. Can you leave this? The India is associated with only one subduction. But my dear friends, if you see the geographical boundary or geotectonic setting of the Japan, it was located in the 4 plates. Juxtaposition of the 4 plates. It has a North American plate. It has a Pacific plate. It has the Okhotsk plate. It has the Philippine Sea plate or Okhotsk or Eurasian plate. So there are so many plates on which is equal to Japan is located. So you can see their cutoff is equal to cutoff earthquake is 6. You can imagine. They know is equal to how to live in coexistence with the earthquake genesis, and they overcome the impact is equal to of the earthquake. In 2011 tsunami-genic earthquake or magnitude 9 earthquake, there is no damage due to earthquake. The damage happened due to the tsunami floods, right? So it was due to hydrostatic pressure, and only those locations which were very hundred or few hundred meters away from the Japan Sea. So I will show you that last slide. So this means prediction is not there, so we cannot leave the place. We have to go for that. So here the disaster is equal to management comes into a picture, and this is called the disaster management cycle. Earlier disaster management cycle consists of the pre-disaster, during disaster, and post-disaster. We see that the India is very good at the post-disaster. If disaster happens, we have very good NDRF team. The National Disaster Rapid Response Force. They are very equal to good rapid force that can overcome, and they can restore the equal to almost all problems equal to corruptive to earthquake shaking. But equal to what happens? The pre-disaster we are very poor. The pre-equal to disaster. During disaster we are also equal to good at comparison to the world. But pre-disaster we are thinking that we know that you have an alarm, right? You don't want the early warning. You have the early warning that you are living in the Himalaya, so you are going to one day die due to earthquake if your structure is not earthquake risk resilient. We have already alarm that we are living in the some equal to earthquake prone area of the zone 5. Then equal to this is going to be disastrous for us, and we are not taking precaution. We are just equal to knowing the alarm that there is alarm, but we are on the living the God. Arey God jo karenge hoga, dekha jayega, kuch nahi hoga. Mindset is like that. But other country, earthquake prone country, is not doing that. So here I made it equal to 50% by 50%. Means if a student going to appear in examination, the teacher told him that you read these chapters and prepare this chapter well, and he is very much regular in the classes. So that means examination is preparing for examination, going to regular classes, and is equal to following the suggestions of the teachers and preparing well. That means he is sure that 50% marks to मेरा आएगा ही आएगा. यदि out of syllabus आ गया, यदि कुछ भी आ गया, तो यदि examination में तो मेरा जो 50% marks नहीं आएगा, but fail नहीं करूँगा मैं. I will pass that. But somebody reverse to that. One student is not going to a school, and is equal to he is not following the teacher's suggestion, and he thinks the exam आएगा तब देखेंगे. What happens? 50% gone. That means the preparedness, prevention gone, and then is equal to 50% he was bank upon that he will go and see in the examination hall. And what happens? When he appeared to examination, he found that his enemy, means question paper, is equal to is beyond his mind, beyond his thinking. So he is not able to write. That means he is going to fail. He is going to miserably fail. And same type of the disaster management says that if you will not go for the prevention, you will not go for the preparedness, you are not equal to take the measures prior to occurrence of the earthquake, then you are going to be liable to suffer heavily, and you are going to lose equal to both in terms of life as well as in type of the infrastructure loss or the property. So this is equal to management cycle change, that you should be not responsive in the post-disaster. We should be equal to responsive in the pre-disaster. During disaster also, that if the earthquake happens, where is the hospitals, how to go there, where evacuation take place, where the rehabilitation take place, all these measures should be preparedness there. But Japan is equal to was prepared prior to 2011 earthquake. They were prepared on their model. But their model was up to 8.7. That is the Fukuro earthquake. That was the Fukushima earthquake. But after Fukushima earthquake, this was the greatest earthquake of magnitude 9, and it generated a tsunami. And its height is equal to all tsunami in Japan is not more than equal to 10 to 12 meters. But this is equal to height was 30 meters, and they have no proper embankment. That means their preparedness was overcome by the unexpected enemy, that is tsunami-genic height of the water. And that's why the loss taking place. So that's why the disaster management says that you should be responsive, not equal to a post-disaster, as responsiveness is only post-disaster. Responsiveness to pre-disaster, responsiveness to during disaster, and responsiveness to post-disaster. Then we will overcome to that earthquake losses. So on the basis of this tectonic map, on the basis of this all the earthquake occurrences, on the basis of entire South Asia map I have shown you, and is equal to the make the seismic hazard zonation map. And the red zone is more equal to hazardous, yellow zone is lesser hazardous than the red zone, and the white is equal to zone or is equal to or the surf, and the surf is equal to surf zone is equal to the medium is equal to disaster, and the white zone is the least disaster. So they made on the basis of the availability of the tectonic structure, occurrences of the earthquake, maximum credible. So this zonation map is also done for the India. You may ask that this height is equal to zonation, oh, it is zonation 5. So I am going to have a suffer of loss. So this is a macro seismic hazard zonation map, and it gives you the idea that in which city you fall and where is equal to your house falling, and in which is equal to zone your region or your state is falling. But this is equal to if this zonation is there is a very approximation has been done. This is equal to zonation is made on intensity law. What is intensity? If you go away from the bulb or tube light, you are getting the lesser intensity of the light, right? Similarly, if you go from the source of the earthquake, where earthquake generates, where earthquake originates, you go away from the source, then what happens? The earthquake shaking will be lesser, right? And if you are at the source of then earthquake shaking will be more. So damage is equal to at the earthquake source, that is mesoseismal zone, is more. But you go away, the damage will be less. But it is not valid. This intensity law is not valid always. It is seen that a very good structure is located away from the source zone of the earthquake. It found to be dilapidated. It found to be destroyed very easily to the earthquake. But there is very dilapidated or very equal to bad structure is located near to the source zone or at the origin of the earthquake, where earthquake emanated. Then what happens? Those structures are found not damaged during the earthquake. So that means there is some factors which is equal to compromise in this zonation map. So this zonation map is just a qualitative map, that in each zone there it was just equal to some compromisation in parameter is made here. That means I can example that if you are staying in the zone 4, then entire building, if its design is same, if its material used in the entire building is same, if the designer is equal to of the all building is the same, and if it is located is equal to in the same zone and same depth, then is equal to what happens? The entire building of that particular zone 4 should be damaged similarly in a similar way, but it is found that it is not damaged. You have seen that some structure was damaged, but some structure is equal to was a standstill. In all is equal to damage map I have shown you. So that is equal to that is there, that some compromisation has been made at the time of the making a zonation map. So in order to make the earthquake hazards or the risk, so risk is equal to is a factor, it is earthquake hazards. That means what was the geological hazards, how is equal to the earthquake propensity is being associated with the geological structural defects, or is equal to a structural heterogeneity, and is equal to, and what was the actually the subduction and collisional and volcanic tectonics. So based on that, they prepare the hazard maps. It could be probabilistic, it could be deterministic. Then we have studied the vulnerability. Vulnerability means exposure to the physical, to economical, and social. So suppose is equal to vulnerability, I will tell you on social, about demographic. In is equal to in a Delhi, if the earthquake happened, then is equal to you can find out the scenario that what will be damaged and how is equal to be damaged. So if their population is some X, in X population, how much gents, how much male, how many male and how many females, how many children, how many boys, how many girls, how many old people, how many adult people, how many young people, how many children, and how many disabled, how many patient, how many this all things. And different is equal to person and different ability to withstand the earthquake vulnerability or respond to earthquake vulnerability, right? Similarly, these are the vulnerability of social. Similarly, if the person is staying in a society, whether he is poor or he is rich, so of course he can take equal to remedial measures. A richer person is in a more better way than the poor people. And is equal to, there is also the political, whether he is connected to road or not, he is connected to all infrastructure facilities or not, where is equal to the political willpower of the state power, state government, central government, and is equal to panchayat, all these things is equal to have encroachment to that places or not. So these all the factors are there. And last factor is value of risk, which is the one by capacity. And more the capacity, less the risk. So actually, the capacity is the reducing the losses due to earthquake. So this capacity could be the engineering solution, which is equal to could be your technological solution, could be your equipment to the equipment of the people with equal to the all remedial measures. Just like the rain is raining, and you have to go to the office, but you cannot stop going office because of the rain. You have to develop the umbrella, right? An umbrella will help you not to soak with the rainwater. Similarly, we have to develop some is equal to a design that is equal to can help us, because early warning is also equal to also a type of the not early warning prior to occurrence of the earthquake. It was the early warning after the earthquake, means when the disaster phase is taking place. एक थोड़ा सा झटका आएगा and then is equal to then other is equal to other shakings will take place, and that is more damaging. So secondary wave, tertiary wave will come. So if your response time is very less. If P and S wave difference is the response time, it's few seconds, 50 seconds, more than is equal to is lesser than 1 minute. So you can install, you can save the vital installations, you can close the lift, you can nuclear plant and all these things. Even a fraction of the second and minute is important. But at the same time, you have to develop your infrastructure earthquake risk resilient. So I will equal to going to say that in order to all these is equal to hurdles, we have to need a safe dwelling to live and safer structure to prosper. Design of the vital structures, multi-purpose dam, thermal plant, nuclear plant, defense installations, vital installations, and all structures need to be safe. So we have to have a geoscientific investigation, shallow layer investigation, deeper layer investigation. So shallow layer investigations means up to 30 meters because you are making a building. So your foundation should be earthquake risk resilient. That means if the earthquake shaking take place, then you have seen that so many energy coming. So our design should be that the energy of the earthquake generating wave should be disseminated, should be dissipated, should be scattered, should be minimized. And that is the technological solution. You make a building in such a way that the huge amount of generated energy due to earthquakes will be reduced as much as possible so that building will be less impacted. That is actually crux. So we have to have a tool of the engineering and geology geophysics. We have to have remote sensing information, drilling and subsurface core analysis, seismic microgeneration, I will tell what is that, and geodetic investigation using the GPS tool. Means कोई छोटा चीज हो रहा है पृथ्वी के अंदर, जैसे आपको बोला कि पेट में कुछ हो रहा है, then we have to have a detailed analysis. So we have to have a detailed analysis, all these things, all shallow information up to 30 meters to find out that how to make the structures of the risk resilient structure. So we have a preconditions. We have to entire information, site information, aerial topography map, water logging area, पहले earthquake हुआ कि नहीं, पहले कितना earthquake हुआ, bore log data, almost all strata information of the surface is needed. And for this, we have to a detailed study. Whenever you will very worry, you tell that ये detailed study क्या है. आपको थोड़ा एक cartoon दिखाता हूँ. You see this image. Please carefully see this, just like a picture, and you see that what is actually unique feature in that. I am always showing this cartoon made by me for people to convince that you see that this. If you see this unique feature, if I am physical presentation, I ask a question. It is a unique feature. If you can give the answer, I will be happy. Can anybody say that what is going on? Can you tell what is the unique thing we are seeing? Please tell me what is the unique thing in this image. Anybody listening? Can you respond me? Hello. Hello. Are you listening me? I'm asking some audience that see this picture and tell me what is unique in this.
Yes, sir. Shifting of layers.
Yeah.
Shifting of layers.
Shifting of layers. And anything else?
And so one tree is nothing is happening to this the largest tree.
Yeah, that is answer. That is answer. I am very happy. Every physical presentation I make, one person is my disciple, and I am very happy that you have given the answer. So this is actually the picture. I'm not asking the shifting of layer, and I'm not asking any scientific thing for moving and all. Unique feature is that only one tree is falling, and there is no impact on the one tree, right? So if the earthquake happens in a so much closely spaced tree, you can see the shaking impact is different, right? One is equal to tree has no equal to impact. The other three tree has an impact, but impact is differently. One tree is fall down, two trees moving, but there is no falling down. Similarly, if the earthquake shaking happens, very closely spaced structure has different impact. My house can be collapsed, your house can be safer. Your is equal to enemy house can is equal to be safer, or is equal to your other relatives' house is equal to make fall down. Depending that the earthquake shaking impact is dictated by why. May I ask another question? Why it is happening? Because earthquake shaking in this is equal to tree, the root is very, very compactly coupled with the soil. Means coupling between the root and soil is very strong. So there is no impact of the earthquake shaking. Here the coupling is bit fragile, but least coupling is here. That's why that tree is equal to that tree fall down. So it is coupling means the stiffness coefficient of the soil to your foundation must be stronger so that earthquake shaking cannot able to disrupt the foundation of the building. And that is called the microgeneration. That means zonification of a particular zone in detail. खूब डिटेल में करना है. माइक्रो जैसे माइक्रोस्कोप होता है 10 to the -6, ये माइक्रो 10 to the -6 नहीं है. Micro zone means whatever the information we have in a particular scale, that scale will be the more detail. जैसे आप जो है 1 kilometer, 2 kilometer, 3 kilometer. Now we have information about few meters. कि इस few meters में what is happening in the soil. This soil is weaker soil. This soil is compact soil. This soil is the fragile soil. This soil is chemically weathered soil. This soil is not on. This soil is unweathered soil. So that type of the information we are getting, and we are doing that. So that's, you see the scientific region, that if the earthquake happens, this is the very stable part, right? This is a stable basement. So there is no change in the wave. So this structure has no impact. But is equal to, if the earthquake happens, the wave is going, and this is the down by the sediment. And sediment is the weak sediment. Sediment gets amplified quickly. If the sediment amplified quickly, the structure will damage. So this sediment, you can see this wave, and it was amplified like this. Okay, and this is equal to building has started to tilt. So your foundation material must be stronger, not the sediment, not the weak soil, not the loose soil. It should, that's why your house जब बनता है तब देखेंगे there should be a gouting, there should be a proper gouting in the foundation. So proper foundation will be not there, then the seismic is equal to energy will be not dissipated. Seismic energy will be not actual scattered. So if they scattered, dissipated, then the impact of the earthquake will take place. That's why in the Japan, if the earthquake happened, the building started to swing like a guitar wire, and they are enjoying, but they are not equal to leaving their house. They know that my house is earthquake risk resilient of the magnitude 8.5 or 9. Now 9 they made it. So they understand that they have technical solution, and we don't know that our building will be earthquake risk resilient or not. That's why we have to do that. So by this way, we are doing a seismic microzonation, and seismic microzonation is for construction of safer and earthquake risk resilient structure, and that is for new structure. Okay, so what is this? I have given the definition. Microzonation is nothing but it is a zonification of area under investigation in a micro scale to identify different level of earthquake risk. आपने देखा होगा जोन मैप, seismic hazard zone map, hazard zone map में आप micro zone करिए. If my building falling, his building falling, what was the information of the soil of the particular building or particular area or particular locality? If there's a locality in particular room, which corner is going to damage, which is equal to area of the particular quota is going to damage. So that detailed information taking, and this is equal to detailed information will be used by the engineer and architect to structure your building. Now you can ask that Agra microzonation is not good, sir, because it is belong to the other party, so politically it is not done, and some Lucknow has been done better, or Delhi has been done better. That's why Government of India has developed a SOP, a standard physical operating protocol, that is a standard handbook of seismic microzonation and manual of the seismic microzonation, so that this physical to comprehensive microzonation study can be followed in each and every city of the country. And Ministry of Earth Sciences is doing initially 30 cities of the country. Agra is also one of them, and Agra is going to be investigated from this year by detailed seismic microzonation, and it will generate the inputs that can be used for the earthquake risk resilient structure design code. And that is equal to at time of the building, you're constructing building, that is equal to Raj Mistri, or that is equal to your flat maker or a building maker will use this code that earthquake risk resilient structure can be there. Okay, so you don't worry that there is no earthquake happening in Agra. It can hit by any big earthquake of the any area, any territory. I told you transboundary earthquake. So I will explain you about the Delhi also in the latter slide. So there are the very complicated processes, but systematic processes in the microzonation. There is seismological information we have to get, geological, geotechnical information we have to get, and we have to get the thematic integration map of the peak ground acceleration map. That what was the acceleration of that site? What was the landslide map? The liquefaction map? The soil is equal to map? The thickness, soil thickness map? The many maps, vulnerability index map we generated, and it will be used in the seismic microzonation. So this is the zone map, and we see that zone has a lot of the structure and this, and we have to zonify this. Many cities are falling in the many zones. So this is the cyan zone too, but this zone has also different damages, right? So, and this was the red zone in here in the northeast, Himalaya, and also the Bhuj type of the area in the Gujarat. So we have to now zonify this zone to create that which zone is going to be seismically microzone for better structural image. And we make microzonation map for Delhi, and we get the peak frequency. Means red zone is high peak frequency, means the structure is the harder, and its corresponding amplification. कि क्या होगा. If it is the lower, this is the lower color, then it has the low peak frequency. So low peak frequency is the weaker, higher frequency is material is the harder. So similarly, you go for the corresponding amplification. So amplification will be the less amplification for is equal to for the higher frequency, and the lower frequency and the low amplification for the the higher amplification for the lower frequency, and the high amplification for this reverse. Okay, so amplification will be for the weaker rock. So weaker rock has the low frequency, so it has the high amplification, and a stronger rock has the high frequency, that is high predominant frequency, so it has been the less amplification. So similarly, we generate a map for the different regions, and we see by this way we prepared a risk index map of Delhi. Risk index map of Delhi. Red zone is a highly risk zone, and this blue line is the Yamuna River. So and the green is the normal zone. But if you see that the occurrences of the so many earthquakes in Delhi recent in April to till today, the people are very unhappy and very furious. Is all dots are the earthquake occurring is equal to during 2009 to till today, and this is equal to a star is the earthquake recently occurred, the star. Okay, so you see so many earthquake occurred. So it is not a puzzle that earthquake occurring in Delhi. Why Delhi is an earthquake? Because earthquake Delhi structure many smaller seismic zones are there, the sedimentary structure are there, Yamuna River, the abundant channels are there, so population of the fluids are going on, the rock is weakening, and so minor earthquake is taking place. So if you see this, then this occurs all in this risk zone. Okay, so this risk zone is associated with the occurrences of this recent earthquake. So this recent earthquake is not bigger earthquake. So this occurrences of the earthquake, a smaller magnitude earthquake, means the stress is releasing continuously. Stress is releasing continuously, leakage of stress continuously. So there is no scope of the accumulation of more stress to generate big earthquake. Just like in your mouth, if there is a lot of pimples, the pus come out, there is no chances of big bump in your mouth, right? Or in your face. Similarly, the release of the earthquake through a micro earthquake is good signature. It's nothing to worry, provided there is no big earthquake generating factor. So in the Delhi, there is no fault dimension bigger than 100 square kilometer or more than that. If the 6 magnitude has to generate, the fault dimension should be more than 100 square kilometer. But there is no more 100 square kilometer means fault length should be 100 kilometer and its length should be 1 kilometer. So there is no such known faults. But we shouldn't be worried because we are very near to Himalaya. So even the earthquake occurring in Himalaya, Delhi will be the second, because a lot of the fault conduits are connected to the Himalaya to the Delhi. That's why the earthquake risk resilient structure and infrastructure of Delhi or any city is required through microgenesis. Understand it? And there is the geological map, that is Jamuna River. You can find that so much is equal to corroboration with geology and occurrences of this explanation of the earthquake in Delhi. So deeper layer, you can find out the basement thickness, you can find delineation of active fault, identification, and you go for the sediment layers, that if there is the basement sediment, this geological age ka hai. More geological ages, more compactness. And he found that for few hundred kilometers, that if the sedimentary layer is compact, then is equal to a structure of hydrogen installations or dam, or then is equal to nuclear plant, will be safer, right? So we have to find out by the geological, by geophysical study. Means we have to do the postmortem and we have to the pre-mortem using the geophysical techniques of the subsurface like X-ray and get all this information. So you cannot make a structure like this is equal to type of the clay and this type of the amplified structure. We have to have a good foundation that should be very compact, and you cannot make, and you have to do the drilling and find out that your microgeneration and get the stiffness coefficient, match the shear wave velocity, almost all rock coefficient you have to find out. Then you have to give a foundational design. So we have to earthquake hazard factors are there. These are all liquefaction address in microgeneration. Risk means direct damage to a structure, number of people get hurt, number of people to be killed, anticipated economic losses, and then is equal to be all things hazard factors and earthquake risk factors we have to deal in the earthquake risk resilient planning. And that's why we have to overcome the structure and get it the earthquake hazard factor by the advanced methodology which we are presently used by the 3D tomography, just like a CT scan. CT scan kya hai? Computer aided tomography. Doctor tomography karke find out the tumor and then he location and operate it. Similarly, we have to find out very equal to judiciously by doing the tomography of the earth to find out what is equal to anomalous zone causing the earthquake or causing the stress accumulation lying at what depth. Then is equal to be able to take the precautionary measures. And we cannot make our structure on the filling land, like is equal to thus abundant channels or wastewater. You know that wastewater is also generating the earthquake. Percolations of the fluid for years generating the earthquake. Reservoir induced is equal to induced. Water is equal to loading, unloading of water generate the earthquake. So our is equal to zone should not be like that. If this is that, then we have a proper engineering solution, proper foundation solution. And then is equal to we can have a good is equal to good structure, and we prepared a strict structural or new structure by the seismic microzonation study. But what happens to old structure? You go for the strict structural audit of the old buildings, of the infrastructure, and adopt the engineering solution like retrofitting. In Hindi called majbutikaran. If my building is the 30 years old, 50 years old, I have to do the engineering auditing, it's a structural auditing, and go for the retrofitting, putting the some extra wall or some is equal to new plastering, some type of the structural measures, or non-structural arrangement we have to do. Some is equal to type of ceiling we have punctured, in the wall we have punctured. So we have to make the proper is equal to a strengthening of that is equal to a structure of the non-structural and structural of the old buildings, retrofitting and is equal to other measures in the old structure. So new structure by seismic micro design code, give a building code and doing that. So we have the strategy for the building earthquake disaster resilient building. If the earthquake disaster resilient building will be proved in this earthquake not damaged, that become the earthquake disaster proof building for the other that earthquake, right? So by engineering and sound building design code, we achieve the earthquake disaster resilient building or earthquake risk disaster proof building. And by generating authentic structural design code, we have to go for the mitigating the earthquake hazards and preventive measures we can take it. And that's why I will show you that this is the post 1 year 2012, 2011, 9th March 2011, the tsunami-genic earthquake happened in Japan, right? And this was the sea, you can see that. This is equal to the multi-storied school. It is not damaged. And all is equal to school, all the foundation was stand still. But this is equal to made for the wood and other, this is washed away by hydrostatic pressure. And I was asked with the UNISDR team member to take the verifications of this site. We found that this is equal to this structure, this school stand still because it was made in the sound building design code of the structure. And no structure was damaged due to the tsunami-genic earthquake of magnitude 9. That means it proved that the technology has achieved the earthquake risk resilient building. So if do that, we have to what? We have to a very equal to good structure. So I will now in the last slide, that is called the epilogue, it Patachev, is the earthquake cannot be predicted with present state of knowledge. And if what is on to understand the diagnostic precursors of the earthquake to understand the genesis of the earthquake, and sound building design codes for the earthquake risk resilient structure can be achieved by by microjonation, and old buildings can be done by the other engineering solution and the retrofitting. And if you do that, then earthquake risk mitigation plan will be successful and our preventive measures will be successful, and we will have a better housing just like this in Sendai. I have gone to Sendai and took the picture. None of the building was damaged due to the tsunami-genic earthquake. That means all the structures are safer in 9 earthquakes. This shows the story that science and technology is quite capable to provide the safety of the building due to earthquake structure and saving the life of the building. That's why Government of India is trying to have a new building design code based on the seismic microjonation, and we are doing that. And I am part of the team. I am project director of the seismic microjonation of the country, where your city Agra is going to be investigated by seismic microjonation. Presently, we are investigating the Mangalore, the Coimbatore, the Bhubaneswar, and Chennai, and other is equal to 8 cities like Lucknow, Kanpur, Meerut, Varanasi, Agra, Dhanbad, and we are going to Amritsar. We are going to do the microjonation very soon of the all 8 cities. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Thank you very much. And you explained such a complex phenomena in such easy language. And since we all want to take care of our body, especially in this COVID-19 pandemic situation, you related so many of the hazards related to earthquakes to our body So I'm sure many of us have understood the impact of earthquakes and how we have to be prepared and to save ourselves and also our loved ones. Then you also told us about all the types of earthquakes and that they have no geographical respect. They are not scared of any rich country or have no mercy on any poor country. Then you also assured us that the low magnitude earthquakes should be a welcome because they are a preventive measure to a big to a large magnitude earthquake, which can be very devastating. Sir, you also told us about the wastewater generating earthquakes, and I'm sure all of us were very happy that we are soon going to have a design code for Agra seismic zonation, which you will be heading. So there are lots of questions in the chat box. I'll request Mr. Bob Stanley Gardner. Can you ask the questions?
Yeah, you can ask questions as much as you can. Hello. Hello. You can ask question. I cannot listen you. हेलो, ये लोग आ ही नहीं रहा, हम लोग का ठीक है ना? हेलो, can you listen me? Hello? I cannot listen you. Hello, hello.
So we can listen you. You are quite audible.
What happens to your audio and there is a disconnection of your net?
No, nothing like that. You are quite audible, but
I was not getting anybody picture.
Acha. Is that so?
So you ask me question as much as you can. Okay. You can ask question. If you have, I am ready to give the answer.
Sir, I have one question.
Yeah, please.
Sir, is there any minimum time duration to predict an earthquake?
No. Because I told you that the exact physics involved in the earthquake genesis is still in the nascent stage. It is going on, research is going on. But it is not a time bound that I can predict the earthquake in 10 years or 5 years. Of course, the earthquake prediction is based on the short-term prediction, the intermediate-term prediction, or long-term prediction. So, short-term prediction, anybody is telling that, oh, stress is built up and it is occurring, but it may not occur. So, I told you the prediction stage, anticipation, expectation, justification, but there is no authentication. So, still it was going on. So, when we achieve the goal, I think it is in the womb of the time. It is not a time is determined.
Okay, sir. Sir, are there any other reasons beside movement of layers or shifting of layers for earthquake?
What is any?
Any other reasons or precursors beside shifting of layers or movement of layers?
Yeah, there is a lot of the precursors. I tell you that suppose the earthquake is making, sometimes you can see that there is the water level in the well coming up. Okay, you can see there was there is a lot of the clusters and swarm in a particular earthquake, particular zone, or you can see there is a lot of the radon emission. So these are the precursors there, but it is not valid for every earthquake. And it was sometimes found like a coincidence type. I told you that still it is not a thumb rule. You can sometimes see that, and then after seeing, you can see that it could be the precursor. but it was not precursor, means we are getting a symptom, but it was not a sole system that can say that earthquake is making. So shifting of the, like India plate is moving, okay, towards the Eurasian plate in northeast direction. Of course, the entire world is knowing it is colliding, of course. But at what shifting, the brittle failure taking place, it is also the point. In the laboratory, we know that the granitic and basaltic layer breaks at this stress, but that is not that stress breaking in the underneath the earth or in the subsurface. It is or at a place. It is different. So there is many processes involved in, and so that's why the precursor still determination is in nascent stage. We are studying some signal, electrical signals, electromagnetic signals. All these are precursors.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, welcome.
Any other questions? Mayank, do you have a question? Dr. Preeti Masih, any questions?
So why are after, ma'am,
Yes.
why, I was asking, sir, why are
Why are-
aftershocks are also recorded? Why are aftershocks recorded? After an earthquake, they record aftershocks also.
Very good question. Very good questions. You see, if the main shock occurred, then there is the displacement in the fault. And you know the elastic rebound theory, if you stretch a rubber and you just leave it, then it started to come to its original condition, right? So if the main shock occurred, a huge amount of energy generated, and there is a displacement of the fault, and there is a lot of the disturbances. But at the lapse of time, it started to come at the original position, and the wave started to propagate. So during the propagation of the wave, some rocks started to break. Okay, some rocks started to break. So there is a small earthquake taking place. Suppose the wave is going and one fault comes, and this was very compact. That is equal to takes energy much. So big aftershock also coming. So within 12 hours or 12 to 24 hours, big aftershock occur, and then series of the aftershock taking place, and as time lapses, the aftershocks reduces. So aftershock is very good signature of the stress release pattern of the main shock. So any shock is associated with the aftershocks, but reverse foreshock is not always true. All is equal to main shocks are not associated with the foreshock. Some shocks are foreshock. After occurrence of the main shock, we are telling, oh, it was a foreshock. But if you detect the foreshock, you can predict the earthquake. So almost all main shock are not associated with the every time foreshock, but almost all main shock is associated with the all aftershocks, because the energy propagation is rupturing the rocks, and then there is a smaller earthquakes.
Okay.
That's the main shock.
Thank you, sir.
Any more questions?
Yes, ma'am. I have a question, sir.
Yes.
Yeah, please.
Sir, does a small earthquake means that a larger earthquake is coming?
I told you that if the small earthquake is the foreshock, and if you detect the prior to that, then of course yes. But detectability of that a small earthquake is whether it is foreshock or not, that is a lot of the problem. But if see the background seismicity, smaller earthquakes occur in Himalaya. Almost all smaller earthquakes in Himalaya is not equal to generating the big shocks, right? Because it was a stress release pattern. But if the smaller earthquakes, so many earthquakes occurring in a particular cluster, a particular depth of a particular known fault, then we have to see that whether the fault started to rupture or not. So it could have possibility both. But most of the time, a small earthquake in a single, it cannot be telling that earthquake is making. But if a small earthquake is the foreshock for an earthquake detected, it can be predicted. But foreshock prediction is not still achieved. But if so many smaller earthquakes occur in a particular depth in a swarm, in a particular fault, it was the alarming to study detail. Okay?
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you.
Anybody else who has questions? So I have a question.
Yeah, please.
Sir, in Delhi, around the Yamuna plain, like they're saying that is earthquake prone, and there's a lot of advice not to buy houses over there, not to build your houses, and to build it from away from the Yamuna plain. At the same time, we don't have any historical building also along the Yamuna plain in Delhi. But since what you call you'll be doing the zonation in Agra and carrying out the micro study in Agra, we would like to know that why so many historical buildings like the Taj Mahal, the Red Fort and all, they're all on the banks of the Yamuna, and there is also a thick settlement along the banks of the Yamuna. So what could be the reason that Delhi is not too far away from Agra, it's only 200 kilometers. So what is the reason for this?
Yeah, your question is multidisciplinary, and you are a geographer. You know that how the people migrated and living in the near the road or near the railway line or near the river. You know that because
Yes.
geographer is the best geographer. My favorite subject is geography, so you know better than me. So that was actually all the kings and emperors are locating their cities very bank. Not only that, you see the Thames. You know the all in the London and many cities of the world. You can see that many rivers are there. But here, our ancestors who made the Red Fort, who made the Taj Mahal, they are the best engineers of their kind. You know, so many earthquakes happened after Taj Mahal in the Himalaya. Okay, so
Yes.
many earthquakes Delhi, and so many Delhi also facing the earthquake of the Himalaya in Uttarakhand many time to time, including Uttarakasi and all. There is no damages, or even that there is no signature of the damage to these structures. That means they have taken care of the foundational design so nicely that they can withstand the shaking. And God grace, they have done it. So situation or location of any structure nearby the river is not the problem. Let it be nearby the river. Let it be nearby the Himalaya. Let it be nearby the volcanic zone. Let it be nearby there. But you should follow the protocol of making the earthquake risk resilient structure by engineering solution. That foundation must be made like this. Now you can see that in Delhi, you have not asked the question because it was a government question. But I can tell you, lot of the haphazard urbanization taking place in the NCR, in the Delhi, in Ghaziabad, and they are making the structure like a mushrooms. So those structure must be as per the building design code. There should have to be a proper risk resilient code. There will be no problem. But if this newly structure made is not followed the building design code, the disaster happen to happen. So Taj Mahal, I am going to tell you that Taj Mahal is one of the stable foundation. It is just like a model to us that they have make a lot of the plinth area, lot of the cement or lot of the bricks they have been used. The good quality of bricks they have been used. A lot of the precautionary measures they have been taken, or some other measures indigenously that can scatter the waves. And so a structural design in nearby the river is not a problem. But in Namuna is the zone 5, of course, because sediments are there. Sediment is amplifiable. If the earthquake occurred, then a small earthquake can amplify the sediments. And if the amplification is there, so amplification of the earthquake shaking matches with the amplification of the structural, then there is a resonance. So a structural frequency should not match to the amplification of the formation, right? During the earthquake shaking. That is our target. So that's why we are going to tell that a structure should be the earthquake risk resilient. Let the sediments amplification taking place, but it should not match to the structural frequency of the structure. Okay, so it's good. Making a house nearby the seashore and making the house nearby is not a problem, but your design should be there. If you have not a good design, you are going to that. In seashore, you can see in Andaman Nicobar Air Force. You remember that Chandrasekhar Meghna, whose daughter only saved, an entire family was washed away in the tsunami in the Andaman Nicobar because his quarter was very near to seashore and it has been not taken a precaution. There is no embankment. There is nothing. So in a scarcity of the prevention, we are going to lose. But with prevention, we can able to save, or you can have less disaster. You have the less losses. Good question.
Any more questions? So, thank you very much, sir. Now I will request Dr. Mahima Habel Masi, Assistant Professor, Department of Chemistry, to say the vote of thanks. She has worked as a principal investigator in Fast Track project under Earth Science Division of SERB-DST and also attended an SERC School of Seismology at RBS College, Agra. Yes, Dr. Mahima, can you say the vote of thanks?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you for the introduction, ma'am. It's my privilege to have been asked to propose a vote of thanks to all the dignitaries. First of all, I would like to give glory to the Almighty God for protecting us and making this webinar a resounding success. Further, I extend a very hearty vote of thanks to our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Ashok Mittalji, for giving his concern and regarding this international webinar series. I also extend sincere gratitude to our Principal Sir, Professor S.P. Singh, for all the words of wisdom that radiated a source of energy within us and encourages us. A very hearty thanks to our speaker, Dr. OP Mishra, Scientist F, for your very informative and thought-provoking talk. Sir, you profoundly highlighted the drastic changes such as corrosive processes, stress accumulation, magnitude changes, and many more. You clearly explained how earthquakes can be predicted, the seismic hazard zones in India, and suggesting preventive measures such as microchronization as a tool for earthquake detection. I'm sure that all the participants action at their level. Thank you so much, sir. Further, I extend my sincere thanks to Dr. P.A. Majid, Head of Geography Department and Chairperson of this webinar, for all the guidance and motivation. I also thank Dr. Neelia L. Chauhan, convener of this webinar, for inviting such an eminent and wonderful resource person. Heartfelt thanks to all the co-conveners of this webinar, Dr. J. Andrew, Dr. Preeti P. Masi, Dr. Vidhu Grace Noel, Mr. Bob Stanley Gardner, Dr. Rohan J. D'Souza, Ms. Shalomin Sharma, Mrs. Barkha Bain Singhal. As no program can be possible by a single person, thanks to all the participants for making this event meaningful and successful. Last but not the least, I would like to thank all the technical staff for the smooth running of this webinar. May God bless us all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, so much. And today there was a little bit of problem. Many participants could not come because our staff members, they have to fill a form, because our staff members have to fill a form sent by the UP government. So they are all very busy and we have to submit it by tomorrow. However, your lecture will be streaming on a YouTube channel and many will benefit from it. So thank you so much, sir, for such a nice lecture.
Thank you.
Now I will call Vidhu Grace Noel, Dr. Vidhu Grace Noel, to make the announcement for the next week's webinar. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. For our 7th International Interactive Webinar Series, which will be on 21st July 2020 at 10 a.m. The topic will be Artificial Intelligence and Machine Learning in Cryospheric Science. Speaker is Dr. Anil Haq, Associate Professor, College of Computer Science and Information Science, Majma University, Al Majma, Saudi Arabia. So see you all once again at 10 a.m. on 21st July. Please be with us and get benefited by the international webinar series. I thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
I'm not able to share my photos. Just a minute.
Share the photo.
This is the webinar series. banner for join us. Thank you, everyone.
Technical team, can you please mute us? Thank you, Mishra ji. Thank you so much for accepting.
Very much.
From
My
your
pleasure.
busy schedule.
Thanks a lot.
Yes, sir.